just breathe in some air, take a little sip of water, and pow, you could make fat. Pretty amazing. I mean, some of you are thinking, hey, that's my worst nightmare. But I was pretty amazed in grad school to find out that plants could do that. They could just make fat out of thin air. So Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, you think, when I was learning all about fats and how important they were to cell membranes, that I would have made the connection. Hey, fats are important. Maybe I should eat a few of them once in a while. But no. And also, I think grad school doesn't really lend itself to good eating habits. We're short on time, you're short on money, and unfortunately, a lot of times we're short on common sense too. So, my go-to meal when I would come home, I'd throw out the egg salad, put a little non-fat dressing on it. Then I'd boil up a big plate of pasta. And I thought, hey, I'm eating so healthy because it's low in fat. So I think a lot of us fell into this trap in the 80s. If you grew up in the 80s or lived through and ate through the 80s, you might remember that low fat craze. You remember the little Snap-Roll crackers in the little green box, and they were low fat, so you thought, hey, I can eat the whole box and it won't hurt anything. So I think today we're a lot wiser about carbs and so forth, but that negative reputation of fats has been real tenacious in our culture, and I think still we think negative thoughts about fats. And I'm here today to tell you that fats can actually be good for you. So yeah, you heard that right. Fats can actually be good. So before I get into this, though, a little disclaimer: I'm not a healthcare professional. If you want to make any changes in your diet, please see your certified health professional. but anyway, so what's the first reason that fats are important? Well, the first reason is that fats lay down a layer of fat in your body cavity, and most of us are pretty, painfully aware of that. But you might not have thought that actually that's a really good thing for your body. It provides cushioning, and it also provides insulation. So if you didn't have that layer of fat, your organs would kind of slosh around inside, and you might get damaged a little more often than you do now. Not that you can go skydiving without a parachute if you're heavy enough, but in the everyday jostle of life, it's good to have a layer of fat there to protect things. And the second thing that layer of fat does is it provides insulation. So you might know that skinny person that's always cold. Well, there's a good reason for that. They need some more fat. In fact, anorexic people will actually form a fine hair on their hands, their face even, in women even, and their back. And it's due really for the body trying to compensate for that lack of the fat layer. The body's just trying to figure out a different way to insulate the body. So all in all, we know, fats are really important. To have a layer of fat, it insulates and it cushions the body. And the second reason that fats are really important is that they help dissolve some types of vitamins. So there are some vitamins that are called fat soluble. So if you don't get fat in your diet, you don't get nutrition out of your food. For example, when I was making that salad and putting the low-fat dressing on it, or the non-fat dressing, most of those vitamins that were important in that salad were going right through me. They're just basically fiber. Because when you eat some fatty foods, some oils, that those vitamins would, dissolve into the fat, and that would move across your intestinal wall and absorb into your bloodstream, right? So if you're not eating any fatty food, those vitamins don't get absorbed, and they just, pass right through you because they don't dissolve in water, they don't dissolve in oil, so you basically don't get the nutrients back out. So, some of the vitamins you might have actually heard of before, they're really important, like vitamin A. You might have heard of it because it helps your eyesight. And yes, it's found in carrots, so your parents weren't lying to you. But they might not have realized that, with that raw carrot, maybe a little hummus or dip would have been a good idea along with it, because that would help you absorb all of that good nutrition. Right, so again, fats are a good thing when you're eating vegetables. If you're going to be virtuous and eat a vegetable, then make sure you're getting some fat with it. Right, and then the last reason I'm going to talk about that fats are really important and can be a good thing is when you're snacking. Fat tends to digest a little bit more slowly in your body, so it takes a longer time for you to burn through it. So basically, you might have noticed this before, if you eat a lot of carbohydrate heavy snacks or some sugary snacks, you might burn right through that, and then an hour later, you're hungry again. right? So it makes some sense if you take some cheese and add it to your crackers, or you might take some peanut butter and add it to your apple. You're going to have more calories up front, but if you don't get hungry and snack later, your net result is you're actually taking in more calories. So that's the third way fats are really important, is they satiate hunger, and so they can be a good part of a healthy diet that way too. All right, so in conclusion, I hope I kind of dispelled some of the myths that surround fats, and also, at least you have a good justification. Next time the dessert tray comes out and you want to indulge in that fatty treat, you can think, wow, I'm cushioning my organs. I'm getting my vitamin A for the day. Make sure it's soluble, right? And also, you can think, hey, this meal's going to stick with me longer, so I won't snack later. Right? So, maybe you'll have a little bit of justification for eating some more fats. All right, so Mr. Toastmaster.